The reason they do that is because they know they're not going to lose a single fan on the right. Because what the was that? Dude,
that was a dramatic zoom. That was awesome.
This thing responds to hand motions. I don't even know how I'm going to get that back.
What if you do
now? You're going to have to look at my big head. Right. They know they're gonna. They know they're not going to. What the fuck? Oh shit! I'm going the wrong way.
The other way. Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right.
Oh. Bring that.
No way.
That's actually really cool.
Look, you can actually do hand gestures.
There's a bunch of women out there going, does that work on my dude? Hang on a second.
I'll do that. I'll do that when I'm
what Minority Report
ladies
there.
Hollywood Stories by Jack Handy. You ready for this one?
Ready.
First time I meet Harvey, he gets faxed my script while he's in the air, faxed on his jet. He's coming from New York to do the Oscars. It was that year that they swept the Oscars like with 12 Oscars, chocolates and stuff, you know? So Miramax sweeps. By the time he gets on the ground, by the time he lands, he's read my script. And he's like, I want to see this kid right now. So we're arranged to meet at the Peninsula Hotel. At the same time, Mike DeLuca over at New Line reads it. And they end up getting in a bidding war at the end of the day. But I'm going to meet Harvey Weinstein for the first time. I got my overalls on. I got my producers with me. You know, go in the room, and there's just this fucking table of nosh, dude. Food, just piles of food, you know. And it was beautiful. And he's like, yeah, help yourself. He's getting fitted for a tux. So I sit down, I'm across from Harvey, and his brother Bob used to do this thing where Harvey would sit in an armchair and Bob would like just be right over his shoulder, almost like a pirate's parrot or something. But it became obvious to me that Bob was a big part of the brains of the outfit, right? Was even kind of like, you know, whispering in Harvey's ear here and there. So he's like, oh, fucking great script, best script I've read in fucking 10 years. He goes, who do you want in this movie? So at this time, before I get into casting, but I'm throwing out my big names. Like I originally wanted Jim Carrey to play Smecker. He was the role that Willem got because he was getting into his dramatic chops. He was doing the Truman Show at the time, and I thought like he had a lot of great drama potential. And you know, I started naming a couple other names, and Harvey goes, if you don't go with Miramax, I'm going to get everybody you just said in my movies and you won't be able to use them. And I was like, gangster tactic.
Yeah.
Right? It gets me to tell him everything. Gangster tactic. So already I'm feeling good, warm and fuzzy. I want this guy on my side, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, we keep talking, and he's like, just fucking name it. What do I got to do to get this movie? And I go, how about a big kiss on the lips? Right? And my producers, they know that I'm a little, you know, they know I'm not the usual guy that they're dealing with in terms of film. And so they're like, ha, 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 ha. And Harvey's like, ha, 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 ha. And there's this really uncomfortable pause. I stand up, I start walking towards him, right? And he starts like backing up in the chair. But he's like, sitting down in the chair. So I grab the two arms and I go in for the kiss, and Harvey like turns his cheek, like he doesn't put up his hands or anything. He turns his cheek, and I gave him a big one right here. Everybody's fucking laughing, right? But at the end of the day, we say goodbye, and he invites me to the Miramax after party at the Mondrian Hotel. So same night, right? I'm standing in line with these two strippers that I brought. They're looking pretty good. And up comes one of the guys in Miramax, yanks me out, brings me all the way up to Harvey, and his wife is there. And she's like, what have you done to my husband? And I was like, I fucking sexually assaulted him at the Peninsula.
How's it feel, Harvey?
I had no idea how prescient that would be.
Yeah.
That story aged well. Me too.
Yes.
Said Harvey.
You are the vengeance. Oh my God. Yeah, it still sickens me that guy's name is on Lord of the Rings, but you know, we have to deal with it. You
kind of gotta give Harvey his due. I mean, if you ask people, even before or after this happened, if you ask people their favorite movies, you're going to get a couple Miramax ones on.
Yeah.
There, so he had that skill. He knew what he was doing, but wow, it's funny too, because as soon as it happens, like everybody in Hollywood knew this all along. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
I didn't know shit. Like from the very beginning, I was the black sheep of the industry. They didn't let me, I wasn't like, going up to barbecues at Brad Pitt's house. It just didn't happen for me like that. So I was shocked. And nobody else was. Like even my own agent, he's like, "Oh yeah, everybody knew about that." I'm really? Nobody told me.
Some shit. It's crazy.
And like, hey, what am I? Chopped liver?
Yeah, apparently you weren't good enough to get sexually assaulted because you already sexually assaulted Harvey. So
that was it. I blew my chances by coming on too strong.
Yes. Yeah, but it's I mean, I'm sure you told the story a million times, but the lead up to how your movie got made was pretty fucking cool. This is the punk rock aspect of it. You were at a bar. You were working at a bar, right?
Yeah.
Were you the bar owner?
No. I was
okay.
A bouncer.
You were the bouncer.
Yeah, we were trying to get our band going. We're both bouncers at Sloans on Melrose. It's about the coolest bar ever. And when the whole thing starts happening. This one night, out of the blue, we're all in there having a great time as usual, and Harvey's limo pulls up, and him and all his Miramax peeps funnel in, and we did have some, we had some pull there. So we set up a table, all private, even though the place was packed, and Harvey's drinking pitchers of beer, kind of a lightweight when it came to booze, but he just just was charmed by the whole place. And he's like, "Well, what are you going to do with the money?" Because he knew I had never, made any money. He's like, "What are you going to do with the money?" I was like, "I think I'm going to buy this place."
Oh, there you go.
Maybe. And he's like, "Why don't we buy it together? And this could be like, the West Coast kind of Miramax meeting place. And you can just run it and we'll own it together 50-50. So I was like, yeah. And that was the story that made it onto the cover of USA Today and kind of went beyond outside the industry, and after that, like even doing the film, I met young writers and actors that had taken my article and, they stuck it to their refrigerator and had it there for months or years, it was this thing, but it never actually happened. We got into it too fast, me and Harvey, and came to blows too quickly, but the initial contract said best efforts to negotiate the purchase of Sloans, which, once you start throwing fists, was no efforts.
No efforts, yeah.
So that never happened. But it was a wonderful dream, and it got us a lot of ink, And I think Harvey's pretty brilliant about that stuff. Somehow getting the press, like a bunch of free ink was he was a master at that shit.
Yep.
But what do you think is going to happen now? Because that they have crushed every brand. They have in some of the most horrifying ways. They have done some real damage here, and it's like they're sitting there bleeding. They don't know how to fix this wound quite yet. My phone ain't ringing, and right now it should be. They should be calling up all the guys that did, right now, even the studio heads are going, we got to get back to the way it was.
Yeah.
We can't do this anymore. I thought when Maverick came out, I thought the next day, every studio head was going to call all stop, everyone in my office now. It stops now. We're going right back to real storytelling. Right? When that happened, I was just blown away, and then there was nothing. They even got snubbed at the Oscars and all that shit.
To do that, you'd have to be an asshole. You need an asshole leader. Have you ever dealt with building contractors? The biggest a-holes around, but they get shit done.
Yeah.
No one in Hollywood is willing to be an asshole. That's why, Dante says this, I don't. He misses Harvey Weinstein, right? Like you need a Harvey, a guy with a baseball bat walking around the table of everyone with the baseball bat going, this is how it's going to be. We care too much about people's feelings. It kind of sucks.
I think that, and also right now, I think the reason it might actually change for the better and go back to real storytelling is because fame itself just took a hit.
Yes.
It doesn't work to be famous anymore.
Nope.
I mean, at least in political, in supporting political candidates, celebrity endorsements, I think it's going to be a while before we see any of that shit happening again.
Oh, that was the biggest loser of last year was the Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah, winner for us though.
Win for us. So now go be famous for being good and don't worry. I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and you too, Chris. I've always thought celebrities got political to try to justify basically their white guilt. And I use it like in air quotes because it's not always white people. It's you go out and pretend for a living and you get paid insane amounts of money. You get to have a nice house up in Palisades. And, you know, you live a pretty fucking good life. And then you're, you know, sometimes, you know, questioning you're human. You're like, I pretend for a living and I make more than any fucking doctor or underwater welder or like people who actually make shit in the world. Yeah. That's got, you know, that there now there's a certain amount of I don't give a fucks that should be with that. It's like, hey, I do this well. I don't care, you know, but I think a lot of them struggle with that. So they're like, we have to go out and be activists and actors. And it always happens, like, especially with female actors, when they hit their 40s, all of a sudden they're activists. I am an activist. And that's been the bane of our fucking existence for especially the last 4 years. I mean, I'll be specific. You don't have to. Woke white women, especially from Hollywood. They've been the fucking worst. They've been the absolute worst. And now we're seeing the result of, you know, things should have changed before COVID. I think they were changing to where they are now before COVID, and COVID reset that. And it was like going against culture. And it was about, and the dam fucking broke. That's what happened. So that's why the Hollywood celebrity got a little second chance of life. And instead of maybe working with the people, you were like in your mansion rooting on fucking riots and shit. People will not forget that anytime soon. So when they come out and take this beating, a lot of people were happy, Troy. A lot of people were happy.
I was one of them. I mean, the zenith, you're absolutely right, but I would also include singers and rappers and
yes.
the entertainment industry as a whole. With actors, though, I never really got it. I mean, that's been going on for a while. At the very beginning, I was just like, why would you care about an actor's political opinion? It's almost like, hey, there's something wrong with my car. I think I'll go down to the grocery store, see if anybody can help out.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. On top of that, and this is a Hollywood secret that I am revealing on your show for the first time.
All right, breaking news.
Actors are fucking stupid.
What?
They're stupid. All right.
I've known that for years. I've interviewed them.
And it's funny because not all of them. You have your smart actors out there, and the ones that are even politically informed. You may not agree with what Robert Downey Jr. says, but he's smart.
Yeah, he's
read
smart.
A few books. He did that whole documentary on politics. He gives a shit. He can debate you and hold up his side. So you have those type of guys. They're just incredibly rare, you know? And here is an actual piece of insight. The reason they go to the left like that and harangue and say the most intolerant, crazy shit. I'm going to burn down the White House and cutting Trump's head off. The secret, the industry doesn't want you to know. Every one of these actors, every one of these singers, every one of these rappers know they're not going to lose a single person on the right. I don't go to Robert De Niro movies for his political opinion. We don't care. We literally don't care. So they know they're not going to lose many of us. We don't cancel people, right? They know they're not going to lose conservatives. They're not going to lose people right or even middle. But they get to virtue signal as the people that are. It's like when George Clooney, that's the zenith of this to me. Mm-hmm. George Clooney's involvement with choosing our president, it was almost like, dude, have you done so many movies where you save the world, you actually think it's real?
Yeah.
You know? And so I got to this point where I was like, that tells me how far they'll go, because if she had won, he would be being hailed as a hero right now. The guy,
the kingmaker,
democracy,
or the queen maker. Yeah.
The
queen maker.
All right, I'm stealing that, Bigler.
Yeah, you can. And instead, he came up and goes, I feel betrayed by Obama, who made me write that letter. It's like, shut the fuck up.
My God.
Not even a movie star.
Yeah, not all. He's too smart for that. He knew what he was doing. He took a shot. He bet on the wrong horse, and now he's doing the. Well, I'm just going to stay out of politics.
Good. Thank you. Wish you would have done it 20 years ago.
Say that at the same time.
Yeah.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.